So after making shorts, I thought that it is time to make the next step and to go for a long metrage, because for the feature animation film, because if you have more time in film, you can speak in a different way, and you can tell more complex stories than in short films. So this was my challenge. And first I tried to write some script by myself for feature animation film. When I began writing, it was I wanted to make some film about relationship, about matchmaking, like putting together men and women. And I was working on it for quite a long. It was supposed to be a combination of live action film and animation, but soon I realized that I am not good in long stories, that I am so deeply inside, I am so much short thinking, that I am thinking in small metrage, in these small vignettes. So for me it was difficult to build some story for 1 hour and a half. And then I realized that it will be better to find some existing book or script. So I was looking around. The only thing I knew was that I want something with some interesting women character and something which is absolutely not for animation. Because I somehow believe that also with animation characters you can act deep emotions or human emotions, which normally actors do. So for me it was kind of like a challenge and test to take a normal realistic script which could be done in live action film and to put it to animation. Another reason was that I also wanted to bring animation a little bit outside of our, as I called it, animation bubble, which is not so small bubble, it is quite big, but it is mostly, and we like it and love it, but it is mostly for people who know how to watch animation. Because sometimes you have to, when you watch animation, I think you have to be a little bit more active than watching live action film, because you have to analyze the metaphors and symbols and so on. And in this film, I wanted to make the film for audience which is not used to watch animation. So that was also why the animation there is serving the story, how everything. I was working with a purpose to serve to the story, not to exhibit with possibilities of animation, and to be very modest in everything and to support the story. And the book itself, it was just coincidence, because the Czech producer Negative, they were also trying to find something for me, and then they had one script which they told me about, that it is good, but it was meant for live action film originally. It was this sorry, it's a little bit complicated, because before me there were two filmmakers, Czech filmmakers, who wanted to make this book as a live action film, but somehow it didn't work. They didn't find enough money, and so then they left the project, and the producer still had the script. And one day I bought the book for the train when I needed something to read, and the title sounded to me familiar. That's why I bought it. And it was a book Frishta, and I immediately felt in love to the main character Hera, and to that feeling that you appeared somewhere in the world that you could never be, because you are the foreigner, and into the Afghane family. And then I realized that it sounded so familiar to me, the title, because it was a script that the Czech producer already had. So sorry to make this story so long, but it was like this. And I really enjoyed the humor in book, and the like a physical presence of the main character of Hera, which I could read, which I could feel from the book. so we made various adjustments to the scripts because we had to adjust it for animation to simplify the number of characters and also to make it, to simplify it for animation. And also I wanted Hera would be more in the center. So they were changes like this. And for me it was important to have the script because when you have, especially after I tried to write the script and I was not successful, I know that having the good script, you are already in the half of your way to the film, that a lot of work is done already.
So the script was already written by Ivan Arseniev?
Yes.
Okay. And what did Yael Joanna Levy did for the movie?
Joanna Levy came later and she gave us various comments which were interesting for us because the original script was written from point of view of people with a Czech experience. I cannot tell exactly what was exactly to show the points in the script that she was making comments to it, but it was interesting to hear the ideas and comments of someone who lives in France, which has much more experience with people from different nationalities. So it was mostly about, something was very clear to us, to Czech people, but it was not clear to her. And because she represented the Western world or French experience, but not only that. So I think that it was, she had some good comments on some passages in the film. So it was mostly like commenting and helping to adjust the script.
So the book was written in 2004, or published
yes,
in 2004.
really long time ago.
Yeah, and the action take place in 2011. So you decided it, or it was already written?
I wonder how it was. Yes, because this is one historical point, which is killing of Osama bin Laden. It's hard for me to say, but it is probably what already made the scriptwriter when he, because we started to work later with I think that they were writing the script like 2010 maybe. No, probably not. Probably 2011.
Yeah. Probably, yes.
Or maybe 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they just have to make some update.
Oh. So did you encounter some difficulties to set the project up?
Once again, please.
Did you encounter difficulties to set up the project, to finance it or to find money to make it?
I am giving this beautiful work to my producers.
Okay.
Which I know that it is tough work, but I think that it was not easy, but it was not that difficult, I think. And what was also helping, but I think that it's helping on both sides, that, for example, Coproduction with France resonates very well in Czech Film Fund, because they know that the project is going to be international and that also the publicity. And so I think that we have got a little bit bigger money because of that. And I think that the French producer also has some advantages because we were, I'm not sure if I'm precise, but that this was like a fruitful for both sides. But of course, like everywhere, there is never enough of money. And before making this film, and when I have heard something that we needed more money, and then I always thought, come on, you can always come with some solution which is effective and doesn't cost much. And I didn't like these words about missing money. And then I realized how important it is to have money, because if you have money, you can afford better animators, or you can have more days for post-production, and you can have more days for making sound design. So it is not that you need more money for people to get better paid, which is also an important part of it, but you have more time and which sometimes you need to have more time or better people. Originally, when we were speaking about making co-production with France, I thought that it will be great, because originally I hoped that we will be able to bring French animators to Prague, something which happened, I'm not so sure, but there was film Wild Planet from director Topor.
Yeah.
And it was done in a co-production with Czech Republic, and I know that it was very beneficial because it somehow brought new energy and had you could see the impact on our film industry. And I thought that this might be something similar. But then it was somehow not possible to do it because you would have to pay the French people 3 times as much than Czech people, and the money from French side came a little bit later.
Okay.
So I was happy that we could animate half of the film in the Reunion Island, but like all the development and layouts and half of animation was done in Czech Republic.
Okay.
Okay. So did you encounter some constraints while making the movie? Was there some, for example, did they tell you the movie has to be for young people, or did you meet that kind of remarks?
Again, I must say that I'm very lucky to have the producers which I have. Sometimes it's very tough with them because, of course, that they are under big pressure because of money. But also, I know that negative, because I was mostly working with negative and with Sakrable, it was afterwards. They really want what is the best for the film, and so they were. I was even asking them, because we had there one small sex scene, and I was asking them myself, maybe we should put it out, because if we will put it out, maybe you can also show it to younger people. And they said, no, just leave it there because it's important in the film. So they were encouraging me, because they were encouraging me to make it as I feel it. On the other hand, they had many comments, and I must say that I was open to it, because I was aware of big trust they are putting to me, and also it is a big responsibility. It is a big budget and many people working on it, and you have it always behind your in your mind. So I know that sometimes I don't see things so clearly because I am too deep in the project, and when I hear some advice, very often I don't want it, I can't use it, and I'm protesting. But also very often I know that the film is a not only co-production of countries, but also friendship or the common creation between the producer and the director. So I was somehow we were in accord in this.
You are used to make short movies like almost all alone or on a very small team. Wasn't it too difficult to go from an artisanal process to a more industrial process?
This was for me the worst. It was for me the worst. Because, as you said, I am used to make my film mostly myself because I want to control everything. And if you make short, it is possible to do it. But then you can never make the long film. But on the beginning, I was looking forward to it because I'm not the best animator. I'm not good in animating movements. I think that I'm good in precise timing and in animation of what is going on in your mind, but I cannot make like a fights or action. I cannot animate action. And I was curious how other people, how the animators will come with their own ideas. And somehow then it didn't happen. Because they were coming with some ideas, but I couldn't use it because they didn't fit to my film, or I also didn't have very experienced team, because many good animators, they were working on another projects or abroad, or they are not existing. Because having a good animators, it means that you have to educate them, and then you have to keep them constantly working with other projects. And if you don't do it, so then finish the project and then continue in something on 3D, and so do what they need to work. So we had a combination. I had two people who were skilled animators, and then we had some just fresh graduates or still students, like Andrea, who is here at the festival as my student. And so we had to teach them how to make it. So normally these beginners in old times, they could never do this work, because to be an animator you really need a couple of years to do it. But fortunately, animation in my film is quite simple, and I wanted it would be simple. I didn't want the animation would be cartoony, or when people speak that they would use some animation movements like, oh my God, you are here, oh! And these exaggerated movements, I wanted them to observe the situation, and I am waving with my hands a lot, I'm gesturing a lot, but normally people don't move that much. And they say, oh my God, you are here, that's incredible. And you don't need that many gestures. So it was good that animation, we didn't have that skilled animators, or we had a mix, but fortunately the animation was doable for them. And just returning back to your question, it took me about 2 or 3 years to get used to it, that results of the work look different in all terms, in terms of animation, backgrounds, their skills. And I knew that I would do everything better than them. And then after that long time, I just have got used to it, and also started to appreciate it. And very interesting was to see my film yesterday, because I had some break. I haven't seen it for 1.5 months, and I was able to see it objectively, and I must say that I have not seen that much the mistakes, because before I was not able to watch it. I thought look, the walk is horrible, the walking is horrible, and here the shadows are missing, and I have seen all the little details, which normally as an audience you don't notice at all, because you follow the story. So now I am fine with it. But it took me a long time.
So it was, was it more difficult for you to direct a team of animators on this movie, or a team of technicians for your live action movies?
It was also difficult, but it was definitely shorter.
Okay, yeah.
To work with live action film. But originally, I realized that when I decided that I want to make this film, I thought that I want to make it with someone, like 2 directors, and that I want to make it as some other good animator directors do, that you direct, that you don't animate, that you don't control, that you don't make compositing, that you are director and you can see the whole thing. But because I was unexperienced director of a feature film, then I felt that I have to go to each profession, because also we didn't have enough people.
Okay.
And they were not enough controllers. This is a position, controller, which is extremely important, but nobody wants to do it. People want to make creative things, but controller is extremely important and necessary in all stages of animation. So I was making all these things. So next time when I will do something, I really must find some system to be a part of it. And on the other hand, I know that I will not be like this because I love animating and I love preparing it. But I hope to not to make it that much like this project.
Did you do the animatic by yourself?
Yes, we had many versions by animatic. I made when I made the first, it was a storyboard, and it was help of the small team which we had on the beginning, and they were our graduates. But I was telling them how to make the shots, so they were only making the drawings. And it was similar with the first version animatic and second version of animatic. And then somehow they have got used to it. Yes,
Okay.
I have hands on everything, unfortunately.
Yeah, you mentioned the simplicity of the animation, and I think it's what makes the movie so touching, because we're really in the intimacy and the family. And I'd like you to talk also about your other aesthetic choices, maybe from the characters, the design of the characters also.
Originally, I wanted the characters would be more sketchy, and on the beginning I told to the producer, yes, let's make a kind of punk film. I mean, it will be fresh, everything will be drawn quickly and not like Pixar with all this care. We will make it like a fresh movie. And then I found that it is impossible, because when you say sketchy, it means everybody explain the word sketchy in a different way. And so when you have to make models for animators, it is almost impossible to make it sketchy. I know that some directors, they can do it, but I couldn't. And if you tell them make it sketchy, then they bring it and you say, oh no, not that much sketchy, or this is not enough sketchy. So I found that this was the first problem. Then another thing was that during the work I led myself to dead street, to the dead end, because in certain moment I thought that the character should be more realistic. So there was a realistic period of our film and of the characters, because I thought that the story is realistic, and if the characters would be too much simplified, that it will not work. But then we found that suddenly it already was not my style, that realistic characters. And also it was even more difficult for animation to draw it, because to animate without references, without rotoscoping, to animate realistic characters with the normal proportions of a human body, it's also difficult. And then the time was running. And then again, my producers, they showed a really big portion of generosity, because they said, Michaela, let's try the last test, because we already needed to start the production. And they said, let's try the last test, try to redraw again the character in your style, because I already forgot where is my style. And I think that it was really brave, and I don't think that many producers would do it, because you are losing the work. But as I said, that they want the best and they know me so well, they somehow recognize and have understanding that it will be good again to redraw the characters. So this is something, the final result is something like a compromise of everything what I told you.
You also recreated Kabul and the Afghanistan society,
Yes.
the market, etc. How did you gather materials to do that, to have the settings of the movie?
I must say that it is quite easy in these days of internet, and I have got, because you have so many films and documentary films and references. The only thing I was missing was Kabul still doesn't have a Google Street View, because I love Street View, but they don't have it. But also in the first time or at the first place, Petra, the script writer, she gave me piles of her photographs, which she took when she was living there, and also she had her private films and also films educational films that she have shot for Czech television or for whom. So it was one source, and we could get from her also shots from the privacy, because you can see many photos from Afghanistan, from the streets or the houses from outside, but not that many materials from inside, because if you are in the family, they don't want, it is privacy. They keep their privacy. So it was very helpful. And then we had a video references, because as I said, the film originally was supposed to be in live action films. So the producer already had a video materials, because they were making an observation of the place they went to Afghanistan to shoot. But then still you find that you have all these materials, but you are not making exact Kabul. You are creating the new Kabul, which is how I imagine Kabul. So for me, it's very nice to hear that some people told me here, this is so much Kabul, and I hope that it is Kabul. But I was glad that our advisor, Afghan advisor, that she said that, yes, this is Kabul, this is how it looks like.
Also in the movie we can hear the thoughts of the main character, through the voiceover. Was it a way to adopt a point of view, so we feel so close to her?
Yes, this was for me very, very important. And but voiceover is always something a little bit tricky, because it takes you out from the film. So we don't have it that much, but the book is written at the first person, and the writer or the main character in the book is always constantly commenting what she sees, and she is commenting it and joking about it from European point of view. And I felt that it is so funny book about life in Afghanistan, and you would never suppose that living in Afghanistan can be so funny. And of course it is not only funny, it is tragic, it is there is some humor, but you can watch everything with the irony, or with you can joke about it to make your life easier.
And
so that's why she is there. And originally we had much more voiceover, but then we decided not to use it that much, because of the reason of slowing down the film.
How Petra, so the writer of the book, reacted when you told her, or someone told her, it would be an animated movie? She is a journalist, so she is close to realness in a way. So
Petra is she is great person. She is very, very active. She has a big Afghan family living with her in the middle Bohemia, and she is doing many things. She is working, she is commenting all things, situation in Russia, situation in Afghanistan, situation. She is always in the newspaper taking care about huge family of Afghan. There is an Afghan village in middle Bohemia, and it is her family. And she doesn't have much time. And it was good, because she said, okay, yeah, that's great. It will be the film, animation. Wow, I'm curious. So here are the photos, here You can see the dresses. Here is what I have brought. I can tell you everything. So she was telling me a lot, but then she didn't want to interfere with the script, and it was the easiest situation for us. She just give us the trust, and give us her trust, and I was pleased at the end because she said that she is glad that it is it is in animation, because she says that she thinks that if it would be in real film, that it would be more difficult to accept some things and violence. But this is what animation is good for, that we could see it on Walls with Bakshir, that it would be either difficult to watch it in a documentary film or in a live action film, or it would be one of those films about situations somewhere there. But if you make it in animation, audience can feels easy. Somewhere you can go further.
Yeah, and your movie is not just another movie about Afghanistan and about women in Afghanistan, and that's really nice because it's from the inside, and it's really, like you said yesterday at the screening, it's like almost a regular family, even if it's not so regular, but it's like family life everywhere.
I was very happy when our consultant, Afghan consultant Valentina, she told me that she is so happy that there is some film about normal life in Afghanistan, because she said that there are always only catastrophic reportages in the newspaper, of course, because it is interesting. People will not write, or it is interesting for people to read it about tragedies, and there is unfortunately enough tragedies every day. But she says that there is also this normal life, and showing this to people, that to the audience, that she found it very, very important. By the way, there was one very interesting thing which I didn't speak about it yet, because we have two language versions. One is Czech version, where everybody is speaking Czech, but it is kind of funny for French and for other countries. And so then it was good that Sacre Bleu were successful to collect the money for making international version. But it was so tricky, because imagine that you need Dari speaking people, because in Afghan they speak Dari, who are at the same time good actors. And then I thought, who will direct them? Because if I will listen to them, I will not know if it is like, imagine directing Chinese people. You don't know, are they playing good or bad, or you don't know. And so then it's really combination, because there is a Czech character who is played by Czech girl, and she have learned the Dari sentences. And then there is a Dari cast they are two sound recording studios in Kabul, and so we could choose, and they were so good. And what was nice, that they sometimes, when I work or when somebody offers me people from dubbing, you just cannot use it, because they are used so much to speak in dubbing, and their voices sound like dubbing voices, like this American kind of accent. But these guys were very natural. And I directed, there was a French director who is originally Afghan, and his name is, I will tell you later. He studied Famille, and so he was directing on Skype those people, but it was good that they already had the Czech version, so they could hear emotions of the actors that I want to, so it helped them a little bit. And once I was also directing Nazir through Skype. It started at 5:30 in the morning through Skype. And it was very interesting because for him I asked him to be soft to Hera and to talk to her with love. And he felt uneasy because they are not used to show this on the public. But then we have got it, but it took him time. But what was really touching, that they told me that next day there was Roshangol, the actress for the young girl, supposed to come to the studio. And they said that they like to begin shooting a little bit later, not very early in the morning, because now they have terrorists have a new hobby, that they have magnetic bombs. And so on the crossing, when the car stops on the lights, they come with a magnet and they just put the bomb, they just pass your car and they put the bomb on magnet and then they leave. And they said in the morning there is the most explosions in Kabul. And you hear that and you realize that in Europe we all are panic from COVID. Like, oh my God, I cannot go to buy the bread because COVID is everywhere. And they have COVID as well. Plus they have these bombings. So then really I felt so humble, like facing to these brave people, because for them it's normal daily life. So I admire how well they did.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so how did you find the Galperin brothers for the music, and how did you work with them?
And what use of the music did you want? What idea of the music did you have from the beginning?
For me, it's instead of describing how the music should sound like, it's better to use various reference music, which I have from various my previous films, or any kind of music that you collect through your life, and you are trying if it should be like what because the music is extremely important for the film. Of course that you can make the film without the music, but I'm not that type of person. I like when because the music can help a lot. It can build emotions and you don't need to do that much, and the music just creates the atmosphere without you. And it was great that Ron Diane's Sacrebleu, that he just contacted Galperins, and that he succeeded to get I think CNC funding for them. And they have a big experience with the film music, so it was easy to work with them. And also on the beginning I asked them to send me all possible music which they have done in past, and I was using this music as a reference music when I was making animatic. So afterwards, when we had a couple of Skypes, and then I also described everything. But then it was easy because somehow we had we were speaking with the simple words. I said, this is nice, you should feel, I feel that there is a warmth, but it is a little bit too much sweetness. And I would like that there would be something bitter. And they say, yes, I know what you mean. It is this instrument, we will put it out. So it was, I was only making the little comments, and there is a lot of music in this film, I know, but somehow I wanted it this way. And I think that it was nice to work with masters, because this is what I hope that animators will bring me, that we will just speak about these things. But so it happened, for example, in the working with the musicians.
You said yesterday at the screening that I thought was very, very funny and very touching that you were there to show the feature film, and you said that short films are something like short film is the best size for animation. So of course that was very nice to hear that, especially here in Annecy. But does it mean that you're going to make new shorts, or do you plan to?
I am planning to make another feature.
Okay.
Another animation feature. But yes, I think that short animations are the best because there you can experiment, you can do it in one person, you can be personal, you don't need to explain to people, you can be more daring. But it is quite interesting because animation feature, it is animation film, but it is like something completely different. So it is halfway to the building, like building a live action film, because when you need to get audience attention for 1 hour and a half, you have to build a story with the you have to speak more slowly, because when you come for 5-minute films, you are usually used to watch animation, and you know that from the first moment you have to be open and bright and alive and translate the symbols and to be active. But if you come to the live action film, you can be passive, and because the film has 1 hour and a half to talk to you, and it does it with the help of the music and editing, and it is like very completely different work. But somehow I maybe I will make some mini short in the middle, but I would like to we are planning another feature animation, but it will not be that quickly, because it still needs the good script.
For you, is there a way to keep going with experimentation like you did in your short movies in a feature movie?
Exploitation?
No, experimentation.
Yeah,
Like you, yes.
To keep it in live action film?
Yeah. No, not live action. In
feature
a new feature animated film.
I just would wish that the new film would be the opposite of my cinemat, but I would like if the film would be emotional again, but I would like that it would be cheerful and funny and colorful and enjoyable and energetic. But who knows, because the story and emotional impact is the most important for me. So, but at this moment, I think that I would like if it would be different.
Okay, so thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much.